Hi, my name is Stephen Lursen, artist and instructor in Charlotte, North Carolina, here today discussing the common obstacles and inhibitions that keep us from getting started with our painting. So many of us who are creative want to achieve great goals, but somewhere along the way, we stop. And maybe weeks pass, months pass, years pass, and we've neglected it. And it's time to just hit the ground running and make progress to achieve what we want. So this series is about getting started, the common frustrations and obstacles to getting started painting and how to overcome them, right? The last video that I just filmed and published was about not knowing where to begin. Today's video is about not knowing what you need to achieve the results you want. So we're talking about materials and products. If you want to paint a beautiful portrait painting, what do you do? What do you need for that? If you're wanting to make a collage painting, mixed media, what do you need for that? So that's really what it is. All right. First, whenever you are once you figure out what you want, you have to establish your needs list. All right. I said, first decide what you want to make based on your inspirational image or set of images. You establish a needs list. So how do you do that? Number one, you ask yourself, what medium do you want to use? May seem simple enough, and maybe this is insulting to your intelligence. That is not my intention. But it is important to be considerate. If your inspiring image is an encaustic painting, wax painting, and you're wanting to use what you have, which are watercolors, you're never going to achieve that result. Or if you want a watercolor result, but you're using oil paint, you're never going to achieve the right result. So what my point is make sure you understand what is necessary to achieve the right result and use that medium. Typically, whenever you find an inspiring image online or in a gallery, it will tell you what medium or media were used in the production of that artwork. And that will unlock your door to beginning that process. All right. So next is, can you draw the imagery that you want in your painting? If so, great, not a problem. Just use a pencil or charcoal pencil, water-soluble graphite, aquarellable colored pencil, anything you need just to lay out your painting if that is relevant. If you cannot draw the image that you want, let's say you want to do a landscape building or a portrait painting or an animal, and you just simply don't yet have that skill set developed to draw it. Well, can you acquire a stencil for it? Can you collage in imagery and then paint over it? Do you have the necessary materials for that? So for stencils, you would either need to purchase the pre-made stencil, which there are thousands of, especially at donnadowney.com. You would be surprised what a rich diversity there are there. If you are interested in collaging imagery, do you have acrylic gel medium? You don't just use glue sticks like we used in elementary school. It'll pop off and it won't last, and you won't be setting yourself up for success. Use acrylic gel medium, collage your elements on, and then seal it so that it is embedded into the process of your painting, and then you can paint on top of that. That's my trick whenever I am wanting to achieve a quick result for a complicated image. And there is zero shame in that. That's just being smart. Next, what size canvas or substrate are you going to use? Do you have the right substrate for what you want to achieve? As an example, if you want the best substrate for a portrait painting, like oil painting, and you're wanting smooth blends of the skin so that you don't see the brushwork, you need an extremely smooth, fine-tooth linen canvas or some type of canvas that has been refined and not the standard rough type of canvas you get at the store. If you are wanting to do encaustic work, You're not going to do that on a canvas. You have to use a firm cradled panel. Why? Because the wax and the encaustic, if it's on a canvas and the canvas stretches or thumps like a drum, that wax will break off and just split. It has to be secured to a firm foundation, such as a cradled panel. Typically those are birch. But essentially, make sure to set yourself up for success with the right materials. And if you don't know what those right materials are, so you're not just able to establish that based on process of elimination and observation, then go to a supply list for an online workshop, which are almost always going to be free and readily available on the product page for a supply for an online workshop. Find that supply list, see what that artist is using, such as myself or anyone else, and you can use that as your shopping list. And that way, don't buy any other impulse buys. Just get that, and you know you won't be wasting any money on something you're not using. So, I hope that that was helpful. Today, we were talking about not knowing what materials you need to get the desired end result and how to go about finding the right materials for what you're looking for in the broadest sense. So, we talked about finding inspirational imagery, and then moreover, not just the picture, but finding the medium that the original artist did it in and using that as your category of supplies. Making sure you have the right substrate. So do you need it to be on paper like watercolor? Because watercolor needs to be absorbed into paper. Is it canvas for acrylic paint? Or is it a cradled birch panel for encaustics? Certainly you can use different substrates for different purposes, and that's fine, but you want to make sure to set yourself up for success. Then we also talked about finding supply lists on online workshops. I know all of my online workshops have that readily available, as well as many other artists. So if not knowing what the right materials are to achieve your desired result has been an obstacle for you, then I'm glad to speak to that today. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about not knowing how to achieve the results you're hoping for. So it's not about what materials you need. It's not about finding inspiration. It's about practically not knowing the techniques required to achieve your result. So I hope you stay tuned for that, and I will see you soon. Happy painting!